This is going to be a reasonably short video because, as you can see, I've got a parrot sitting on my forehead, and don't ask, it's not even mine, but she's out and she's flying around, and yeah, she's going to see what she can. Yeah, there goes my hair. You know, if you want your hair redone, get a parrot. Anyway, we're not here to talk about the parrot as much as she thinks she's the most important thing in the world. Today, we're talking about being different. Don't be better, be different. You remember that phrase? Good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is better and your better best. Absolute codswallop. Yeah, okay. It's good to be better than you were yesterday. It's always good to learn and improve. But if you really want to stand out, if you really want to go for gold, you really want to get those dreams, and you want to be the person that people remember, there's no point being best, because their best is relative. If you're the fastest runner, you're only faster than somebody else. If you're the best ukulele player in the entire country, you're only the best ukulele player compared to everybody else. Why do you want to be the same as everyone else? Why do you want to be compared to everybody else? Better, yes, but if you're doing the same as everybody else, then what makes you special? What gives you that edge that nobody else has? Unless, of course, you've got a parrot on your forehead, on your head. Mark Twain put it rather well. I'm going to look down, so I'm going to read this out because I don't want to get it wrong. The best swordsman in the world doesn't need to fear the second best swordsman in the world. No. The person for him to be afraid of is some ignorant antagonist who has never held a sword in his hand before. He doesn't do the thing he ought to, and so the expert isn't prepared for him. He does the thing he ought not to do, and often it catches the expert out and ends him on the spot. If all you're doing is being the best compared to everybody else, then the only way you can keep winning is to keep being the best, even if that means hanging on with your fingernails. Not only is that hard work, it's pretty bloody boring as well. But come along with the broadside, something completely different and unexpected. You'll knock your competition off their feet. By the time they've worked out what you're doing, or what you've done and tried to replicate it, you will be off doing something completely different again. My father was in a very small law firm called Harbotton Lewis. It was a very small and very successful and very specialised law firm. It specialised in entertainment law. Amongst their clients was a certain young man called Richard Branson. Irritated by his inability to get to the Virgin Islands, where his soon-to-be wife was waiting for him on a holiday because their plane had been cancelled, he chartered a plane to take him and all the other passengers stranded in Puerto Rico to the British Virgin Islands. On his return, he bought a Boeing 747 and started Virgin Atlantic. Now, most of us are not in a position to come home from holiday and buy an airplane. But what was stopping you next time your plane was cancelled? Not getting together with all the other people on the plane and pooling your resources and saying we could charter a plane. It's not necessarily impossible. You just had to think a little bit outside the box. Anyway, the point from all of that is that Harbotton Lewis, which in those days had been a, as I say, small but successful entertainment lawyer, suddenly had to become, and now is, one of the world's experts in aviation law. Something completely broadside, something totally different, made both Branson and Harbotton Lewis have to do something very different to become, to get around a situation, and it worked for them. The problem with best practice is that best practice is only better than, or the best of everything else. It's the same. Best practice is a means of saying we're all going to do the same thing, we're just going to do it a little bit better than somebody else. Miracles, fantastic startups, dreams, outstanding inventions are not born of best practice. They're born of thinking outside the box, being weird, being different. Personally, I love my Henry. That's not my husband, it's my Hoover. Now only have two dogs. One of them's a Newfie. She leaves enormous, great big hairballs, the size of small cats, around the house. I would not give up my Henry for an endless supply of chocolate chip cheesecake and champagne. Nothing would make me give up my Henry. He is brilliant. And I have to say, I'm not the world's greatest fan of Dysons, but you have to say for James Dyson that he shook up the vacuum cleaner market. The very first Dysons were expensive. The only way you could get them repaired was to send them back to the manufacturer. And yet, people queued up to buy them. People swore by them. Suddenly, there was something new, something different. He made a feature of making the ordinary completely extraordinary. Now, if Dyson can do that with the vacuum cleaner, surely you can do that with your life. Bye from me and the parrot.